Experience every entry, descent, and landing event precisely designed and executed to land Perseverance safely on Mars. The eye's experience is based on predictive data, but during this broadcast, you'll see a different visualization called Ranger, and it's based on the real.
It's just basically Kerbal Space Program.
From Perseverance,
they're playing Kerbal and getting paid for it.
The team will follow as data fills their screens while monitoring the health of Perseverance on its nerve-wracking course to another successful Mars landing. Enjoy the ride.
500 miles per second. That's it. That sounds better. That sounds a little bit more correct. Yeah, I was gonna say 10 miles a minute sounds really slow. Not fast at all in space terms. It would take all day to get to Mars.
You are watching.
All right, let's see what she
Mars
says.
Landing commentary. Stepping outside mission control to talk to us is Perseverance system engineer Matt Smith.
Hello,
Thanks
Matt.
For joining us today, Matt.
Hey, Raquel.
Well, coming from mission control, we are going to hear terms related to landing. Can you help us understand what some of them mean?
Yes, tell us the lingo.
Definitely. One thing you'll hear a lot about is telemetry. So telemetry is just our way of talking about data that's coming from the spacecraft and telling us important things like temperatures on the vehicle, pressure, how much fuel we have left, and other things that we need to understand for the health and safety of the vehicle. You'll also hear the word nominal, hopefully. Nominal means everything is expected, everything is okay, we're good to go. You'll hear also a lot about velocity and deceleration. So velocity is just our speed combined with the direction we're going. And deceleration is our slowing velocity. So we're coming in at over 12,000
like all the terms that you hear in the movies.
Slow down to a nice, comfortable 2 miles per hour at landing, and that's our deceleration.
2 miles an hour.
Landing,
okay.
You may hear a couple important terms at landing itself.
I wish they would say that in kilometers as well.
RIMU stable. So the RIMU is a device on the rover that measures the rover's orientation and whether it's moving. So
I know they're American, but I'm just saying.
Without any motion.
I want to hear both because I can't. I'm trying to do better at picturing kilometers in my head.
UHF stable refers to good telecommunications link with the rover, and
I suppose
that we had a good separation between the descent stage and the rover after the sky crane maneuver. Finally, you may also hear Tango Delta nominal or touchdown nominal.
Tango Delta nominal?
Touchdown on the surface of Mars within the expected range of safe landing speeds.
Thanks for that breakdown. Now,
Tango Delta nominal.
First Mars mission. What have you learned from
I want to remember that one. That one sounds cool.
Yeah, one of my takeaways is that you can almost never be
we
too
got
careful when it comes to Mars.
Tango Delta
take Mars
nominal.
For granted. You know, we've checked and double-checked and triple-checked everything on our way to Mars, and you know, even though we've done this once before using the sky crane technique on the Curiosity rover, you know, I think everyone's going to have everyone's going to hold their breath until we're on the surface of Mars this time around.
And
yeah, the sky cranes. I feel like the sky crane's really risky. It's really hard for me to even pull off with Kerbal.
Is the automated landing sequence, and who wrote the code?
Yeah, it's quite complicated. The automated landing software needs to do literally hundreds of things, all on its own, just right with sub-second timing accuracy, and it's the result of many hundreds of people.
The long term, like the terminology,
and then
to say Tango Delta.
Today at Jezero Crater.
Great. Thanks for your time today, Matt, and good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, the terminology. Tango Delta. What was the other part?
Landing on Mars.
Tango Delta nominal. That's what it was.
Harder. The team behind the Perseverance
like, just say it landed safely.
Challenges when the coronavirus
I don't get it.
Struck. Here's how they kept the mission going.
They gotta make it sound cool. If it doesn't sound cool, then what the heck are you doing in your space program? Who cares if you land a rover if it doesn't sound cool?
When the pandemic struck, the future was certainly unknown. It was like walking into a blind dark alley. You didn't know what
Tango
was there,
Delta
what was in
nominal.
front of you,
I want to remember that. I already forgot what the other term was. He said two things.
Something that nobody expected. It's something nobody could plan for.
I just remembered the more annoying one.
To start working from home.
True.
Rather than your first priority being
half of space travel is just sounding really cool, so that when the movies copy you, you look awesome.
Gets displaced, and it's now the safety of the people.
And it took a lot of work to put stuff together in order to keep momentum going, to keep people working safely, keep them healthy, and to keep the project on schedule.
We called the effort Mars 2020 Safe at Work, and the
Safe
objective
at Work, okay.
was to keep the team as safe or safer than they would be if they were not working. You know, putting a spacecraft together that's going to Mars,
Yes, no nose.
not making a mistake, it's hard no matter what.
Some people like to stick that
Trying to
nose
do it
out.
during the middle of a pandemic, it's a lot harder.
No noses.
And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity.
I watched this one
next
too.
generation of robotic explorers
We
to
didn't
red
live
planet.
stream it, but we did watch it. I mean, I did. I watched
A
it.
team that's flying a spacecraft on the way to Mars while getting ready for landing, while doing it all from home.
There's no doubt that working
I think the last one that we streamed that was live was the
virtual isolation, but
was the SpaceX
physical
capsule docking
isolation
with the
from
space
everyone
station.
is a challenge.
We didn't. I didn't catch the first one, but I caught the other one, the second one.
What it meant to operate
As dope as heck.
spacecraft in flight when we couldn't all be in the same room in mission control, seeing the data come down from Perseverance.
Also, I do like the commentary because it does give some. Hey, it's Matt again.
Because of the pandemic, you can't,
because it gives some
you know, just pop over your
what do you call it?
wall and talk to the person next to you.
It's
Context
definitely been a challenge to figure
to a
out
lot
how
of the
to
stuff that they
communicate and get everything done
that we're
remotely.
going to be
But
seeing
we
here.
managed to make it work.
We are explorers. Our job is to go into the unknown, and this is just another example.
Your commentary is all right, but
We're really doing something that's
Yeah.
transformative.
I don't think
and
we're close
trying to
enough yet for
understand
them to
whether or
want to
not
start
life evolved on another
showing
planet.
the
That's the
rover
fundamental
landing.
objective of this mission.
We're all
they
still
did
connected
show
by
some
this
other
incredible mission and this
links
this wonderful team that we have the
with an
opportunity to be a
uninterrupted
part of,
feed,
so that keeps at least
but it's
me
just
going.
showing the room. It's
Pretty
not
much
doing
everybody that I've talked to that's associated with
they're
the
not showing the
mission
mission at the
has
moment.
said the same thing, which is
If that makes
could not have
sense.
come up
It's
with a
just
better name
it's all
than
really quiet.
Perseverance.
It's an amazing serendipity that we get to persevere through working on Perseverance.
Yeah. This will kick over to when they get closer. Oh, it's an hour away? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Got an hour. Let's see, a day on Mars is about 40 minutes longer than a day on Earth. Ah!
Deputy Project Manager Matt
I didn't know that,
Wallace.
actually.
Matt, just
I wasn't
how
actually sure
ambitious
the
is this
full length
mission?
of a Mars day.
This team stay on track with unexpected challenges like the pandemic.
Well, it's a very ambitious mission. You know, we're carrying
They're breaking
a
up.
host of new,
Uh-oh.
extremely capable science instruments to do that
There you go, man.
science mission that we've talked
Yeah,
about.
I
but
figured it was gonna
also,
take a minute.
A number of technology.
They're just gonna kinda build up to it.
experiments that provide feed forward information into.
I might even get some food
robotic
myself
explorers or even
sometime during the
exploration
commentary, so
more.
we'll just keep
So there's a lot
let's keep the
for us to
broadcast
do.
going.
We look a lot like Curiosity, but in fact we're carrying 50% more payload down to the surface of Mars.
Dang,
and
50%.
So it is it's been a big challenge.
It's a big
you know,
rover.
and it was particularly challenging when the pandemic struck. Came at a critical time in our process.
It's almost like the size of a Volkswagen.
From
'Cause I saw
launching,
some comparison
we're
pictures, and
trying
it's a pretty big,
essentially get the
almost
spacecraft
car.
assembled, do the final tests.
It's like a smart car. It's big.
Schedule, and our focus just
All right,
entirely
man.
shifted from that to keeping the team safe and keeping their families safe. And we had to do that quickly. We had to make the adjustment quickly. I think you know, we got through it with a lot of help. A lot of people stepped up to make it happen. The team was tenacious, and we managed to get it launched and fly it to Mars. You know, it
Yeah, they
takes a
did
lot
good
of
work.
And Matt,
These are
just
basically
how
like the
large
smartest
is
people in the
team
world,
that worked on
so
Perseverance?
It's a big team. A couple
NASA
dozen
only hires the
people
best.
Here just at JPL, in fact, have worked on the mission. And then almost every other NASA center has contributed in some significant and critical way as well. We have over 1,000 industry partners that have provided hardware into this mission from 44 different states, 60 different cities, and of course we have international contributions from Europe and many other international
Thanks,
providers
Europe.
as well.
Ah, yeah.
it's a big team. It's taken a lot of people to get us to where we're at.
That is a big team. This is the most difficult landing site ever attempted. Now, why do you think Perseverance is ready to land in Jezero Crater now?
Jezero is tough. I mean, it's scientifically fascinating because it's got a lot of things like craters and, rock fields and cliffs and sand dunes.
And they're breaking up. I apologize.
Which are great for the science
it's like
community.
really
That's
bad.
exactly the type of features they're looking for to learn more about Mars. But they're all landing hazards for us. And so we've had to add new technology to remote navigation, which is the ability essentially to divert away from hazards. But we have taken this system through the same types of paces that we have in previous missions. We've used the same techniques, the same best practices for engineering verification, and in many cases, we've used the same people. This, in fact, is my 5th Mars rover mission, and I'm not alone. There's other people on the project in the same situation.
This guy's a vet.
The team has given it everything they've gotten to put it all out there and to make this successful, and I think we're ready.
Thanks, Matt, and good luck on your 5th mission.
His name's Matt, too. There's a lot of Matts on this team.
Well, Jezero Crater is a location on Mars that has intrigued scientists for years. Let's head over to Marina to learn more about the science goals of the
I thought they
mission.
were the same person. I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were the same person for a second.
Here to explain why
They got similar
we want to go
hairstyle
there
and a
is
similar
Deputy
color shirt.
Project Scientist Katie Stack Morgan. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks, Marina. Glad to be here.
Now, Perseverance is landing on Mars at the Jezero Crater. Why is it that you and the team chose this particular area?
Yeah, so scientists believe Jezero Crater is one of the best places on Mars and possibly the entire solar system to look for signs of ancient life. Jezero contained an ancient lake and has within it one of the best preserved ancient delta deposits on the surface of Mars. And deltas form when a river enters a relatively open body of water, like an impact crater, and deposits the sediment that it's carrying into the lake. And we know based on studies of deltas and lakes here on Earth that they're great places to concentrate and preserve organics and support microbial life. We're also excited because Jezero exposes rocks that are between 3.5 to more than 4 billion years old and represent a variety of different geological processes.
Now, this might be a tough choice, but what do you think would be the most rewarding scientific discovery that we expect to get from this mission?
Microbes. Life. That's the best one.
Hands down, I think the most rewarding discovery I think we can make with Perseverance would be finding a truly compelling ancient biosignature on Mars.
Heck
the
yeah.
rocks in and around Jezero Crater
He knows.
record a period of time when life first arose in the solar system. And we have the opportunity with Perseverance to study the evolution of the planet from a once habitable world likely capable of supporting ancient life to the cold, barren planet we know Mars is today.
And why do you think, Katie, it's so important to find out if there really is or was ancient life on Mars?
Well, the question of whether there's life beyond Earth is one of the most fundamental and essential questions we can ask. And our ability to ask this question and develop the scientific investigations and technology to answer it is one of the things that make us as a species so unique. And based on everything we know about Mars in the past, it absolutely should have been capable of supporting ancient life. So we can find out an answer to the question, where there were habitable environments.
I'm curious what the temperature would have been on Mars
The possible emergence of life on ancient Mars can
back
also
then.
help us better understand the conditions that led to life on our own planet.
I mean, they said they had
so fascinating, Katie. Now
running
we're
water,
take a question from a student, Vara.
so it had to be at least warm enough to keep it warm, so or keep it from freezing over.
Lakes and rivers ages ago, but cannot now. Isn't it cold enough to make water? And isn't it always? Thank you.
Those are I didn't even
Yeah,
listen
that
to
is
the question.
such a great question. And one of the things that protects our atmosphere here on Earth and allows liquid water to be stable on our own planet is the fact that we have a magnetic field protecting that atmosphere. We think that Mars lost its magnetic field way back billions of years ago and left the atmosphere exposed to things like solar winds and cosmic rays that basically blew that atmosphere away. And once that happened, liquid water wasn't stable on the surface of Mars anymore. It was too cold and the pressure was too low. And so now Mars is not capable of supporting liquid water and likely not capable of supporting life at its surface.
Well, thank you so much to Vara for that great question, and a big shout out to all the kids.
Notice how she said that surface. I think they suspect that it could be something under it. And I think that's what they're thinking. They want to get down into the soil, see if they can find something.
Earlier, we were able to catch up with the communication systems engineer, Chloe Sakier. She helps us break down the system used to track Perseverance during landing.
The communications infrastructure supporting Perseverance's landing is quite complex. We've rallied a truly global network
it's just like Kerbal.
Communications assets.
Just like Kerbal Space Program.
Record those precious minutes of entry, descent, and landing, or EDL. We receive a stream of engineering telemetry via these communication assets that helps us see and understand exactly what's happening. Perseverance sends direct-to-Earth X-band tones, each of which provides us with indications of critical entry, descent, and landing events. During entry, descent, and landing, we have 2 Mars orbiters listening for the ultra-high frequency, or UHF, signals from Perseverance. These orbiters relay these signals to deep space network stations on Earth, Madrid in Spain, and Goldstone in California. The Mars
What was that third one?
Orbiter, or MRO, has reconfigured its
She missed it on the teleprompter.
a type of relay called bent pipe. This will provide us with near real-time telemetry during entry, descent, and landing. We have coverage from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter from just before entry to a few minutes after landing. The telemetry we receive will be delayed by the time it takes light to travel from Mars to us back on Earth. Additionally, the Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution spacecraft, or MAVEN, is recording these UHF signals and will be relaying that recording hours after landing. MAVEN will be covering us from around the time of cruise stage separation until a few minutes after landing. We also receive what we call heartbeat tones, which are indications that the spacecraft is alive and progressing throughout entry, descent, and landing. It's important to note that while unexpected, we could lose our communication links and still land safely. Because Perseverance is doing entry, descent, and landing completely autonomously, she doesn't need our help to joystick the landing. The communication links give us added visibility.
It would have to be autonomous because
and you can see Chloe hard at work inside mission control right
because of the 15-minute delay, you can't react to something
like
at real time if you're not there.
Back in 2012, but landing on Mars is difficult. There's always a risk involved. Here's what needs to happen for Perseverance to touch down safely in Jezero Crater.
Nothing can be taken for granted when you get to Mars. There's a lot of things we just don't know.
Space always has a way of throwing us curveballs and surprising us.
I mean, until we get the data that says we're on the ground safely, I'm going to be worried that we're not going to make it.
Entry, descent, and landing is often referred to as the 7 minutes of terror.
I think they're trying to get everyone's anxiety up.
It takes about 7 minutes to get from the top of the atmosphere of Mars to the ground safely.
The spacecraft has to do all of this by
itself. What's up, Matt? It's Matt again.
There are many things that have to go right to get Perseverance onto the ground safely.
There's a lot counting on this. This is the first leg of our sample return relay race. There's a lot of work on the line.
Starting about 10 minutes before atmospheric entry, we get rid of really
I like
the
that
spacecraft part of the rover that's been supporting us.
We come
I like that solar panel thing.
to the Martian atmosphere at 12 to 13,000 miles per hour.
And the heat shield is what dissipates all that initial energy through friction.
The vehicle will continue actually flying itself through the atmosphere. It's sort of like a transforming vehicle that went from spacecraft, and now it's kind of like an aircraft actively guiding itself.
When we're going slow enough, we deploy a parachute.
It's the biggest supersonic parachute we've ever sent to another planet. It's critical for slowing down the vehicle.
Yeah, that's the scary one. The parachute's scary.
Borrows heavily from that of Curiosity.
But fundamentally, Perseverance is a different rover. She's bigger, she has different instruments.
Dude, she's huge. So
to make it more capable,
that rover
so that it can deal with the landing site that we've given.
The science team identified
is almost the size of a car.
Basically an ancient lake
it's like the size of a small car, like a Volkswagen or a smart car.
Evidence of ancient microbial life and to collect samples for future return to Earth. The problem is it's a much more hazardous place to land.
When you look at Jezero,
future return to Earth, what's that
mean?
Go to a site what are they planning?
That we never thought was safe enough to go to before. So the heat shield, which has protected us all the way through entry, is no longer necessary. We need to get that off so that we can actually see the ground. And we can see the ground in a couple different ways.
Perseverance will be the first mission to use terrain relative navigation So while it's descending on the parachute, it will actually be taking images of the surface of Mars and determining where to go based on what it sees. This is finally like landing with your eyes open. Having this new technology really allows Perseverance to land in much more challenging terrain than Curiosity or any previous Mars mission could. Amongst the rocks and the craters and the cliffs, these things are hazardous to the rover, but these are the things that are interesting to the scientists.
Once Perseverance has figured out where she is, jettison the back shell and parachute.
Oh no!
And light up our rockets. Those rockets help us steer to a safe landing spot that's nearby.
That descent stage takes us all the way down to about 20 meters off the ground.
That's when we start the sky maneuver.
I'm not gonna lie, that's cool, but man, there's a lot of components going on with that.
Hit the ground, the descent stage will cut loose from the rover and fly away to a safe distance. Surviving that 7 minutes is really just the beginning for Perseverance. Its job, right, being the first leg of sample return, to go look for those signs of past life on Mars. All that can't start until we get Perseverance safely to the ground. And then that's when the real mission begins.
That's sick. So, because on Kerbal, when I try stuff like that, I always run out of fuel to land the thing. So, I don't know. We can try it. We can try doing something like this in Kerbal next time we get on. Send something over. We'll get a rover in there and like a big one. It's gotta be a big rover.
With us
to
now
copy it.
is Al Chen. He is Perseverance's entry, descent, and landing lead. Al, you were part of the Curiosity rover landing. Does it get any easier the second time around?
It absolutely does not, especially when considering we're trying to land the biggest, heaviest, and most complex rover we've ever built at the most dangerous landing site we've ever attempted. Jezero may look great and promising from a science perspective, but it's absolutely treacherous for landing. There's a cliff wall that's about 200 feet tall that runs right through the middle of the landing site. There are craters full of sand that even if we landed in them, we would not be able to drive out of. And there are rocks to the east and actually all over the place, rock fields. That would be a bad day for us if we were to land on them.
Now, Al, what new technology makes this type of dangerous landing possible?
So how do you climb out?
Is carrying two new technologies that are really kind of under the
Is there not a way to make a rover that can climb out of sand
a treacherous
pits?
landing site? The first is range trigger. That's the ability, we've given Perseverance the ability to decide for herself, based on where she is, when to deploy the parachute. Previously, we used to deploy parachutes, that supersonic parachute, based just on navigated velocity. But now Perseverance has the smarts to figure out where she is and deploy that parachute at just the right place to make sure that we shrink where we could come down. That actually reduces the area, that error ellipse, where we can come down on the ground, from something that was on the order of 15 miles long by 12 miles wide for Curiosity to about 5 miles long by 4 miles wide for Perseverance. So that's quite a bit of reduction. Second, the next piece of technology that's helping us land there is terrain relative navigation. In the past, after we've popped off the heat shield, we've taken pictures of the ground as it's been coming up, but we haven't really done anything with them. This time, Perseverance is carrying a camera to take pictures, but also a kind of second brain to help it figure out what those pictures are telling it and match it up with an onboard map from a satellite. That allows it to figure out exactly where she is. Suddenly then, she can then fly to safe spots that are nearby once she really knows where she is.
Dude, that's
It
sick.
allows the site to not have to be as flat and boring as a pancake as some of our past sites have been, the entire area we could come down. Now we just need little pieces of that site to be small enough and safe enough for us to land in safely and fly there after we've gotten rid of the parachute.
And we also have a social media question coming in. Sansakari14 on Instagram is asking, how does the sky crane decide where to move itself after the payload lands?
After the payload lands, after the rover touches down, the sky crane, the descent stage, which is that rocket-powered jetpack above it, the first job, of course, is to make sure you don't hurt the rover. So it'll turn forward or backward so that the engine plumes don't pass over the rover. So it'll come up and start to turn. And it'll go in whichever direction is closest to north. So it can either go forward, if that's the way north is, or go toward the rear of the rover, if that's where north is. And it'll fly about 1/3 of a mile or so away.
And then crash land and explode.
Today, Al.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's
gloriously
head back to Mission Control for an update from Swati.
Hello, Swati.
Hi, Raquel. So, remember that command that we sent at around 11:35 to turn the transmitter off? We are just about to get confirmation that Perseverance has received the command. The command took 11 minutes to go to Perseverance, and then the reply took 11 minutes to get back from Perseverance to the ground. So we should hear any second now that we have officially turned off the transmitter. And after that, we will be about 4 minutes from the start of entry, descent, and landing mode. At this point, we will transition.
Holy crap. It's almost here.
Approach mode to entry, descent, and landing. And that means our travel from Earth to Mars is done, and now we just need to get to the surface. So far, things are looking good.
Great.
What? What?
Oh, this is CAD 3.
I just got a bunch of butterflies in my tummy.
Copy EDL.
Okay.
We'll come back.
That's sweet. What's the transmitter? Is that solar panel thing that they're talking about that comes off?
Flight Ace. Go Ace. Our tracking stations
okay.
confirmed the results of the transmitter drive off and in lock one way. Copy Ace. GDS flight.
So this is what their current view is, but it's actually 15, like what, they say 11 to 15 minutes in the future? In reality, that's where it's at.
Copy that. ECP. Copy that. Proceeding now.
Confirmation that we are now officially one way and the transmitter is off.
Okay, so it was the...
Rover mission has helped.
I think it was
shape
the solar panel
other,
thing.
starting with the landing of the Pathfinder more than 20 years ago, leading up to where we are today with Perseverance. Perseverance Deputy Project Manager Jennifer Trosper has worked on every Mars rover mission, and she joins us now. Jennifer, how does Perseverance fit into the history of exploring Mars?
Thanks, Raquel. It's great to be here.
I like how she looks over that I think it's like a teleprompter or something that she's looking at.
Working on every one of them.
Just trying not to look at it.
The first rover was the Sojourner Rover we sent in 1997, and it was the size of a microwave oven. And even at that small size, Sojourner was able to transform the way that we explore Mars, from stationary landers to small roving robots that go from place to place, just like a geologist would on Earth. So once we had that roving capability, then we sent our twin rovers Spirit and Opportunity. Spirit and Opportunity were tasked with finding evidence of ancient water on Mars. Now they did. They're great explorers, and both of them found ample evidence that water had once existed on the surface of Mars. But we had a question. Another question then was, Mars ever habitable if water had been there? And that's when we sent Curiosity. Now, Curiosity was a major upgrade to our rover fleet. She's the size of a small car. She landed with the Sky Crane system instead of airbags. And she also carries along her own sample analytics lab, and she's still operating today. And during her exploration, she has found evidence of a habitable environment in an ancient lake bed on Mars. So now we're sending Perseverance. Perseverance is tasked with answering the question and looking for evidence of ancient microbial life on Mars. And in order to do this, she has to be the smartest and most capable rover we've ever sent.
Speaking of Perseverance,
dude, I hope it lands. I hope it lands, because the stuff they want to find out is stuff that I want to know.
So to help her along with the surface mission. One of them is for her autonomous traverse capability. When I say autonomous traverse, I mean we tell her where we want her to end up, and she has to figure out the safe and best way to get there. In order to do that, she uses her cameras, algorithms, a computer. So we've given her another computer, we've upgraded the cameras, and we've upgraded the algorithms. Now she drives 3 times as fast as Curiosity could drive in this autonomous traverse mode. In fact, her average daily distance for driving, about 200 meters, is close to the maximum distance any rover has ever driven in a day on Mars. So she's fast. Another thing that we've done, which is the most significant upgrade that we've made, is the sample caching system itself. Curiosity has a robotic arm, like Perseverance has a robotic arm, but on the end of Perseverance's robotic arm is a coring drill that will go and take rock cores, transfer them into sample tubes and into the rover, where another robotic arm will take those tubes, will seal them and store them, and eventually drop them on the surface of Mars for future return to Earth.
That's
and we
sweet.
also have a
So
social media question about
that's my
Perseverance.
question.
Erica
How are they
AS
planning
on
on returning
Instagram
that?
wants to know what the wheels of the rover are made out of.
Great question. Well, you may think we make them out of some material you've never heard of. It turns out they're made of aluminum. Now, Perseverance's wheels are a little thicker than Curiosity's, but they're actually both made out of aluminum.
And one more question for you. Can you tell us more about the importance of where
It's probably better that they made it thicker, because Curiosity's rovers wheels are full of holes now. They've been grinded down.
And this is the surface mission support area. So as soon as Perseverance lands, all commands, this room will take over. It will become headquarters for operating Perseverance on Mars.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Now, we know Perseverance's place in history. Let's take an up-close look at the rover with Mars 2020 System Testbed Engineer, Elio Morillo.
What's up, Elio?
I'm standing
Holy
in front of the Mars
crap.
2020 Perseverance scaled model.
It's bigger than a
this
smart car.
vehicle is about the size of a Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
These wheels are obviously black
It's
here, and they
huge.
look like rubber, but they're actually fully made of metal. These wheels are designed to allow us to climb over obstacles and, of course, climb over hills and minimize
Look how
the
big that
amount of
camera is
slipping
on top.
once we're traversing on the surface of Mars.
It's
Here in
like
front
the
of
size of his
rover, we have the
abdomen.
sample caching system, and of course, at the very front end of this is the robotic arm, which this entire system is arguably the most complex robotic system we've ever sent outside of Earth. Here at the tip of the arm, we have a
Yeah,
turret
it's
which
huge.
contains a suite of instruments along with some drills and coring capabilities that will allow us to do contact science once we get to the surface of Mars. Not only that, this robotic system is equipped to collect samples about the size of a piece of chalk that then eventually will be stored inside of the vehicle and dropped off in a later location so that an eventual mission can go and return these samples to Earth, something we've never done in the past.
Oh, shoot. That would be really cool to get some return samples of Mars.
On the surface of Mars. And one of the first
Dude,
critical activities we do is deploy this mechanism.
how
This
cool.
mechanism includes
How cool is
several
that?
cameras that are going to give us some of the most breathtaking images we've ever taken on Mars. Along with that, we have some lasers as well as a spectrometer. They're going to allow us to do some remote science. Here you see some of these extrusions that are part of a larger weather suite of instruments that will allow us to characterize the local climate around Perseverance. So that's a quick tour.
Oh
of
man,
Rover,
I really hope it
but
lands.
gotta
I
get back to
really
work.
hope it
So back
lands.
to you.
I think it's funny when they look to the side at the teleprompter. -50. The average temperature on Mars is 64 degrees Fahrenheit, -53
Perseverance
degrees
is collecting
Celsius.
samples of Martian rock for future return to Earth. We've heard that scientists have been wanting to bring Martian samples back for many generations. And here to talk
Right?
a little
Heck
bit
yeah.
about that is NASA's Planetary Science Division Director, Lori Glaze, who joins us now to talk about the role Perseverance will play in NASA's future goals. Welcome, Lori.
Hi.
Now, as you just heard, we've heard that scientists have been wanting to bring back these Martian samples for a very long time. Why do we need to bring them back?
That's really a great question. You know, we actually have examples of Mars already here on Earth that came here as meteorites. But we don't know exactly where they came from on Mars, and then they also have had to make the trip from Mars to Earth, and so they got altered during that time, and then during their entry and descent into the Earth's atmosphere, that also changes what those rocks are like. So being able to go to Mars and actually collect a sample where we know exactly where it came from, and we know we can preserve it and keep it pristine and carry it all the way back here, this will be incredibly important to help us answer questions about the geologic history of Mars, understanding how it formed and evolved, and also really important questions about whether or not life actually existed on Mars 3.5 billion years ago, and whether that life, if it existed, has been preserved in the surface of Mars.
Now, Lori, these sample tubes that Perseverance
Once they're done
is going
talking,
to
I have a
be
follow-up
collecting, they're the
that she touched on.
ever created on Earth. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. We worked so hard. The team here at JPL is absolutely incredible to assure that those sample tubes are incredibly clean. One of the main goals of this mission is to be able to detect if there's actual life that's preserved, ancient life preserved in those rocks, in those samples. And we definitely don't want to be carrying, our own DNA off to Mars and then bring it back here to confuse our scientists when they're trying to study those samples. So it is an incredibly clean set of equipment that's been sent there. As you said, the cleanest thing we've ever sent into space.
Now, this is a very complicated campaign. Can you break down for us how it's going to work and if there's any international partners working with us?
You are correct.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have to wait till they're done talking, but
campaign is incredibly complex. In fact, it's probably the most challenging thing we've ever tried to do. But we're definitely not going to try and do it alone. We have great partners with the European Space Agency. And the way this campaign is going to work, well, Perseverance is the first step. Chapter 1 is going to Mars and collecting the samples. Chapter 2 is going to be a sample return lander that we hope to launch in around 2026 to 2028. And that lander, it'll be an American lander carrying a fetch rover that's provided by European Space Agency. And that little fetch rover will drive out and pick up the samples that Perseverance left on the surface of Mars. And the fetch rover will bring them back and load them into a rocket that we call the Mars Ascent vehicle, which will be the first ever launch from another planet. And it will launch those samples into orbit around Mars. In the meantime, European Space Agency will have an orbiter that's in orbit around Mars that can rendezvous and capture those samples and then bring them back to Earth for us to study back here in our amazing laboratories.
That's so cool.
A lot of firsts, it sounds like, Lori, and another
That is
first. How is
sweet. We're gonna have to recreate that.
Have
to recreate that with
the future
Herbal.
human exploration of Mars.
I want to do that.
I'm so glad you asked that. I think we're going to get a lot of great information from Mars sample return with, again, being able to land the heaviest payload we've ever landed on Mars will be that sample return lander. That's critical to us learning how to land humans on Mars. And then we are definitely going to want to be able to launch the humans back off of Mars. So that Mars Ascent vehicle is going to be critical, that first step of the first launch from another planet.
So exciting, Lori. And speaking about the Mars generation, we're now going to take a student question for you from Livia.
Hi, my name is Livia, and my question is, what made you want to study Mars, and why are you working so hard and willing to wait so long for a sample? Thank you.
Because it's dope.
Oh, Olivia, that is such a great question. And I enjoy Mars just because it can tell us so much about how our solar system formed and evolved. All of the planets can tell us different parts of that story, and Mars is a really key piece of that. And one of the main reasons we're willing to wait so long to get the sample back is that we've got great new scientists that are all about your age, and in about 10 or 15 or 20 years, you'll be the generation that's going to actually get to work with these samples. When they come back, you'll be the scientists and engineers that will be the next generation to change how we think about Mars and how we think about life in the solar system.
That's sick.
That was a great
That's
question,
so cool.
Lori. Reach for the stars, future little scientists and engineers. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Lori.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
Back to you, Raquel, for another mission update.
Okay.
Thanks,
So,
Marina. The cruise team for Perseverance
where I live
controls the
in
rover
Salt
on
Lake
its way
City,
to
so
Mars. And moments ago,
they have two
handed
museums.
It over to the landing team,
Two museums with
and it looks
moon
like team
rocks,
leaders
actual
in
moon
mission
rocks,
control are about to
and
talk to both
one
teams.
small rock
let's
about this
listen
big from Mars
change,
that came to Earth from an
previously
impact
is
that
to
hit
EO
Mars.
reserve to
And
Wayne
unfortunately, that little
Reserve
rock got
activity.
contaminated because of the Earth stuff that
flight.
got into it, but
EO
it was a
Payload.
Mars rock. And so there's a little spot. I'll have to get you guys a picture of that Mars rock
I guess, to the team.
and like post it on the Discords.
Right. I'm
But
talks, I think
but it's a really
my
cool sample that they got there.
reputation precedes
And
me there, and
I'll have to
look,
go
I know
up there
this hasn't been
and
easy,
get
right?
that
I'm not even
picture
sure
for you
we've even
guys.
been all in the same room at the same time. I mean, I'm staring at folks across the internet as well. Even now, right?
But yeah, there's two museums. Each one has a moon rock. The one one museum has a small moon rock about the size of a like a
I do want to just extend
fruit,
my heartfelt
about this
appreciation
big.
from the EDL team.
The other one's
to
much
the,
bigger.
to
It's
the
about
launch
this
crews
big, about the
team.
size of a
You've done
like half
everything
of a
you've asked for,
basketball
right?
almost.
I mean,
It's a pretty big
you've
chunk of
battled
rock.
anomalies, you've dealt with Cepheids, you've done everything. You delivered a healthy spacecraft to the place that we want to go. And she's right on target, right? You did the last maneuver literally 2 months ago, right? This is pretty incredible, in my opinion. And she's armed with the right information to help us land. Doing the parameter update last night, we're ready to roll. You've done everything right. And you've put up with us too, right? You've put up with our eccentricities and the things we like to do in EDL land. So I very much appreciate that. So you all should sleep in on Friday, since you guys have earned it. Thanks for literally and figuratively putting us in the right position to succeed. And let's land on Mars together.
Copy EDL phase. And as flight director, I also would like to thank the whole team, cruise ops, EDL ops, EDL team, and the surface ops as well.
You can see some of the feed in the back
It's
there.
been an amazing journey. I think we all know that. And it's been my honor and pleasure to work with you all side by side. And your tireless efforts and endurance in the face of our challenges has been truly, truly inspiring. So kudos to you. Mission, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just echoing the same words that Al and Magdi have mentioned. You guys have overcome great obstacles in the last 6.5 months, and it started with an earthquake in this room on launch day at L-20 minutes. So I can't be more proud than all of the achievements that you guys have pulled off in the last 6.5 months. Whatever happens in the next hour and a half, you can be proud of the achievements that you've accomplished so far. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and I only wish that the rest of our team could be sharing this moment with us. This is a very unusual event. This room is only half as full as it would be if we weren't in this pandemic. So missing everybody on the team who's not with us here today. And go EDL.
That does suck, but
welcome to the EDL family.
Safety first, I suppose. Look at their monitor screens of it. Looks so high tech.
And with that, Godspeed Perseverance. All right, activity. Go ahead and continue the report.
Sure thing, Flight. We've since completed the EDL start anchor. As I was mentioning, we changed our CBM row to EDL reserve two-way non-coherent. That row reinforces our CBM windows disabled, keeps our packetization on, it turns off our ranging and switches to the auxiliary oscillator. We have also started our real-time data products and reinforced Medley on. At this time,
Now, we just heard Perseverance team leaders thank the cruise team for their work in guiding the rover to Mars. Now, did you know the rover name and Mars helicopter name came from students? Well, a couple weeks ago,
That's actually a
Marina
tradition
was
they
able to
kind of
catch
do.
up with them.
They do that regularly.
Thanks, Raquel. Earlier this year, NASA and our partners held a nationwide essay contest to name our Mars rover. Alex Mather, a 7th grader from Springfield, Virginia, submitted the winning essay that was selected by NASA from a field of more than 28,000 entries from K through 12 students in every state in the U.S. Vanessa Rupani's essay for Ingenuity was so compelling, NASA thought it would be a perfect name for the history-making helicopter, a technology demonstration carried aboard the Perseverance rover. Alex and
Oh, I
Vanessa
forgot about the
join us now.
helicopter.
Welcome, you guys.
Hello, space nerds.
Hi. Now, you got to go to Florida and watch the launch live back in July. Alex, what were you feeling as you saw that rocket launch into the sky?
I read a log of books written by astronauts, and every single one of them always talks about the raw power behind a space launch. And I definitely feel like watching the launch invoked that sense of inspiration mixed with anticipation, along with that rumble in my chest.
That's very inspirational, and I'm sure that you have had many conversations.
He projects his voice very well. I'm proud of him. Good job.
Now, what kind of questions have they asked
Usually
you?
kids his age
I
don't
got
always
some
have that.
people asking me about what this helicopter is, what this rover is, what are they actually going to do. So I love that this whole experience sparked a greater interest in the mission in my community.
Why do you think
Oh,
it's
heck
so
yeah.
important for kids to be inspired by space
She'll probably
exploration?
inspire many more
Because
people.
space is the future, and kids are the future. Learning about space and watching the story of humanity spread to the stars happen is watching the future happen and seeing history unfold.
The best way to keep our home safe and protect our planet is to learn from the worlds around it. So I think it's really important for the next generation of scientists to be engaged in that type of exploration to make our home the best place it can be.
I think she's
Now,
got a sharp
speaking of
mind
the
too.
future, what has your life been like
I think
since
he has
naming
some
the rover and
public speaking
helicopter?
experience
Has
because
it
he's pretty good at
sparked
that.
any future aspirations for the two of
The
you?
guy in the middle.
Oh man, I am currently applying to a science and technology school for high school. I'm
Frick
hoping
yeah.
for a NASA internship
Frick
sometime along
yeah.
the way, with my ultimate goal being to join the incredible team of scientists and engineers who are about to make this happen.
This whole experience has definitely shown me that I want to go into the space industry. I
Yo,
came
Marshall.
to Florida, did all my college applications,
Yes,
and checked
let me get you a link
aerospace
to that.
engineering on all the boxes. I mean, the whole time we were there, I was thinking, why would anyone want to do anything else?
Gotcha, man. I gotcha.
So
Oops,
true,
hold on.
and the best of
I
luck
gotta
to both of you.
do a few
Thank
things
you
here.
so much for joining
You guys are gonna
us
see
here
my
today, Alex and
OBS, all
Vanessa.
my stuff here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
MT0, what's up, man?
Your essays, as well
How's
as
it
the
going?
top
Welcome.
155 finalist essays are riding on the Perseverance rover, along with nearly 11 million of the names from all over the world that were submitted before launch. And if you miss the chance to get your name on Perseverance, then you will get another chance to reserve a spot on the next mission to Mars. So
I
make
actually
sure
got
that
my
you
name on
sign
there.
up now at mars.nasa.gov for your boarding pass.
Hasn't happened yet, not yet.
As
They
virtual
said,
celebrations are happening all over the globe,
I think they
let's
said like
take
an
a
hour.
look at some of your submissions on our social
I can't remember what,
channels,
I think it was an
showing
hour.
us how you're celebrating the Perseverance landing right now. And remember to hashtag
30 minutes
countdown
away
to
now,
Mars
okay.
and send those
Nice.
in. We would love to show them off. Look at these kids.
Hey.
They are getting so excited. Everyone's
I bet they play
watching it.
Kerbal Space
A lot of
Program. You know
classrooms
they
are
do.
watching it. Oh, and great, someone did a Lego version of Perseverance, which is awesome.
Dude, I was
It looks
surprised how big that
fantastic.
rover
We
was.
love
It was
getting all
bigger
your
than I
pictures out
expected
there.
it to be.
We've gotten a lot of artwork
I thought it
from
was the size of a
kids, which
smart
has
car,
been
but it's
great.
not.
I
The
know
guy
I
said
have
it's
a
more the size of
9-year-old
a
John
Mini
at home,
Cooper.
and he loves to draw the rover. And look at that. That is awesome. That's better than anything I could bake, that's for sure. Perseverance. in a
Nice.
cake.
Okay. Oh, hey, Marshall, thank
That
you for the
looks
update.
So great. Delicious.
Thank you,
I
thank
wanna
you.
get into that.
We need those
Another
updates.
great send-in from David Bowie Real. Thank you so much for your submissions. Remember, hashtag countdown to Mars. We love to see how you're celebrating. Now, you might know our next guest from shows like Emily's Wonder Lab. Joining me now is Emily Calandrelli. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
I actually don't know who this
Thanks
is.
so much for
Who is-
having me. Now, you are very passionate about getting kids interested in science and space exploration. Why do you think kids are so excited about space?
Well, I know the reason I'm excited about space, and I think it's the same reason that many others are excited about space, and it's that the people in the space industry work to answer two of the biggest questions that
Emily
humans have ever asked.
Calandrelli?
Are we alone in the universe, and where did we all come from?
Also, Emily
And by
Wonders
sending
Lab.
a rover to Mars, we are
I'll have to
gaining
remember that.
evidence for the
That sounds like
answers
an
to
interesting
these
channel to
questions,
follow.
more evidence than we ever had before, and I think
I thought I
that's
had
so
followed
exciting.
all the science channels
It is. And I
at
know
this
you get
point,
loads
but
of
I guess I
interesting
missed one.
questions from kids. Have you gotten any about Mars specifically?
Oh my gosh, yes. Everybody loves Mars. It's in movies and books and TV shows, and everybody loves Mars. So one of the things that I get asked a lot is that, it's called the red planet. Why is it red? Well, it's red because it's literally rusty. The top layer of soil on Mars has iron oxide in it, or rust, and rust has that brownish red color. So it's red because it's rusty. And also because it's red, they ask, is it red hot? Is it really hot on Mars?
No.
And well, no,
It's
actually,
definitely
it's
not.
colder than the Earth. It's farther away from the sun. So as you would imagine,
MT0, not sure if I ever mentioned, but I like space.
it also has a really thin atmosphere.
No,
So
MT0,
the heat that
we
it
didn't
does
gather that at all,
and
not
has a
one
hard
bit.
time
What?
keeping in
This is all new
and so it's a little bit
information.
colder. But then I also get asked, what would I weigh on Mars? That's a really fun question. So on Mars, it's a little bit smaller.
I think it's a
Earth,
third.
So the gravity there is weaker. It's about 3/8 the gravity that we have here on Earth. So if you weighed 100 pounds here on Earth, you weigh 38 pounds on Mars, or 100 kilograms here on Earth.
Okay, a little more than a third.
On Mars.
But close.
Those are all
almost
super
a third.
fun. I think even some adults want to know the answers to those questions, Emily. Now, why do you think it's so
But that would be
important to
weird. I mean,
educate kids
if you're on
about
another
science and
planet on
give
Mars,
them
like,
that great
you could pick yourself up easy.
Well, science is the language of nature, and learning about science and learning how to think like a
Yeah,
scientist
if you're a beast on Earth, you could pick yourself up with one arm and throw yourself across the room with your own strength.
You're learning how to be a critical thinker, and
Plus,
honestly,
you'd
those
probably
skills are
jump
great
really
for
high too.
whatever
I
you end up
imagine you could
wanting to
jump
do
pretty
in
high
life.
on Mars.
True, if you want to be a scientist or an opera singer,
Which would be kind of funny to see.
What
I
are you
mean,
most
like,
excited about today?
I don't know.
Humans are launching a robot to Mars. That doesn't happen every day.
Dude.
And all of the hecticness that is
And
going
you
on
could
today,
probably
all of
dunk
the nerves,
a basketball with your feet. You jump so high.
and remember that we live in a
Just like pick it
time
up with your
when
ankles and
humans
like
have the
drop it in the
ability to send a
basket.
robot to another planet, and that's so cool to me.
It is
I'd have to
very
have a
cool,
pretty
Emily.
long and
Take a deep
multi-oriented
breath.
arm to be able to
Thanks for
pick
joining
myself
us
up.
Thanks for having me.
Or have a significant
to you now, Raquel.
mental fortitude to pick myself up. Get it?
We are offering lots of ways to ride along with us to Mars. Now put yourself right into the action now with our Perseverance photo booth.
Nice.
You can pose next to the rover.
There's a photo booth
place
going on.
yourself in our mission control.
Oh, the
and
peanuts?
even see
That
what
girl
you
had
might
a
look like
jar of
taking
peanuts in her
selfie
hands.
on the red
Those
planet.
peanuts are like a
There, you'll
like
also
a
have a chance to
tradition
sign up to send your name to Mars
to,
on
I
NASA's
guess,
next flight to the red planet.
like have good
It's
luck.
all available at go.nasa.gov.
It's kind of like the equivalent of like throwing the bottle against a ship and breaking it just before it embarks into the ocean. Kind of like the same thing. It's like their little
He will be breaking down
their little
key
thing
moments
there.
coming up, and very few people know more about landing on Mars than Rob, going back to the Pathfinder mission in 1997. Thanks for
Right.
joining us today, Rob.
97.
Thank you very much, Raquel, for having me here. And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful day for a beautiful day in California. We're just also excited here, anxious, worried, but very hopeful.
Rob, I have a question for you. There is a landing tradition at JPL that involves eating peanuts for good luck.
Oh, here we go.
Can you tell us how did that start?
Yes, it started in the mid-1960s. What happened was we had a series of missions that had failures. The Ranger program in the early 1960s, one after another, failed. And what happened was one day a fellow by the name of Dick Wallace on Ranger number 7
I hate peanuts.
on the 7th attempt, decided to bring peanuts to the ops area just before the launch. And
You
guess
have
what?
to eat those peanuts,
That mission
MT,
worked.
for the sake
Now,
of
we're not
space.
supposed to be too superstitious. We're engineers and scientists after all. But we love tradition. And ever since then, before launch and before critical events like entry, descent, and landing, we have brought out peanuts and shared them with the team. And it's been really a wonderful little experience. And so this is something we will do. We're doing right now. And it's something that we just can't help ourselves. It's just part of the experience.
Oh, well, speaking of the experience, how did the Perseverance team keep the tradition alive this year?
Well, this year we're passed out little packets of peanuts to the team, and they can sneak one peanut in their mouth as part of to keep the tradition alive. But,
There you go.
This is part of the COVID experience, but we can't leave this one undone.
I'd eat one
this is
single
what we're
one for
doing,
tradition.
and
There you
we're-
go.
and this is going to help us land safely.
Maybe there's a good
Thanks,
peanut somewhere
Rob.
that
I
would
have some
taste
questions
good,
for you
like
a
some
little later
some
on,
kind
but
of
we're heading back to
seasoning that
Swati
would make
Mohan,
it
who
less
is
or
part
like
of the
more
landing
tolerable.
team. She'll be calling out key milestone and events as they happen from Mission Control. So let's listen in right now.
Maybe look up some peanut recipes, but for like just the nut, nothing else. Just like how do you make the peanut taste better?
And the EL phase is giving a last-minute confirmation of what will be happening in the upcoming changes to the vehicle, just to remind the team.
This will allow us to steer our trajectory as we make our way through the atmosphere. This is one of the things that allowed MSL, the Curiosity rover, to land where it did. And we're depending on the same type of entry guidance this time around to help get us very close to our target. As as we make our way through entry, finish our guided entry profile, we'll do a maneuver called heading alignment, where we point toward the target and get ready to deploy the parachute. But before we deploy the parachute, we need to get rid of a...
Thanks for the bonus stream, by the way, Randy. Hey, Empty Zero, no problem, man. My pleasure. I figured this would be a fun thing to do.
Or CG offset throughout the guided entry phase. So these are called the entry balance masses. We also call this maneuver SUFR, S-U-F-R, or straighten up and fly right. So we'll go ahead and eject those masses when we get a trigger from the GNC system telling us that we're at the appropriate range to the target to do so. As soon as we deploy those, we will no longer have a CG offset, and we'll be ready to deploy the parachute 17 seconds later.
All right.
Right where the Perseverance team is sitting now, what's in store?
You can kind of see the feed in that guy's monitor right here, and point the mouse, but right here, he's looking at the same feed that's over here, which they did say that they are showing that feed that's uninterrupted from that perspective. I did not catch where that was, unfortunately.
Alright. Now, Rob, you've been right where the Perseverance team is sitting now. What's in store for them as we approach landing?
Well, this is the really...
She got a serious look on her face, made me worried for a second. I was like, oh no.
But very soon, as we approach true state separation, the transmitter on this rover we've been using all the way to get to Mars is going to be turned off. So we will lose our ability to see ones and zeros. But the good thing is, once the cruise stage is gone, there's another radio that will continue transmitting a tone, so that like a flashlight, that will allow us to at least see that the vehicle is still on. And that color of that flashlight tells us a little bit what state the rover's in. But soon after that, it won't be very long before we'll be able to hear more ones and zeros coming from the spacecraft. So this is a really exciting time, and it's just important to remind people there's a lot that can go wrong in a day like today. There are thousands of things that have to go wrong.
Yeah,
oh boy.
We had success in the past landing on Mars. You'd think it
is that where we're at now? Holy
really
crap.
Doesn't. Why is it still so difficult?
Well, because it's involved thousands and thousands of things, hundreds of thousands of lines of code. There's 79.
So they did not eject the little solar panel disc. I don't know what that is.
Wire short, or one key thing mechanism that doesn't work or breaks, and it's mission over. And so it's and it's very easy. We're human beings. We're not perfect. Mistakes can be made. We count on each other to find our own mistakes, and we work very hard to learn from the mistakes of the past. We've had many failures. Remind people, roughly around half of the missions to Mars over history have failed, and so it's
half. Oh, don't say that.
Too. Even though
oh my
we
gosh,
a wonderful string of successes in the United States, it's still still a bit of a gamble that we have hoped that we have erred in the side of luck, and we've stacked the deck and loaded the dice to make this thing succeed. But if we do fail, and something bad happens today, I can tell you we're going to learn it. We'll have the data that tell us what happened. We'll know why. We'll figure it out, and if we are allowed, we will pick ourselves up and get us back on the horse. And if Congress and NASA allow, we will try again. As we always do, we will learn from our mistakes.
And what are the possible scenarios we could be looking at today?
Oh boy.
Well, there's things like
I just read
one of the key
radio signals take about 14 minutes to get to Earth. Yeah, that sounds about right.
But just even separating from the cruise stage is a pretty major event. Lots of devices have to work properly. Certainly, the heat shield separation. Getting
it seems to range anywhere from 11 to 15 minutes. So it's very interesting why it changes like that.
8 to control during entry, another 8 to control it during landing. I said it's a lot of stuff, and it all has to work. And guess what? We haven't done this before with this vehicle ever. This is its first attempt to actually land. We can't try this on Earth. We can't do. We don't have test pilots to try it out on this planet before the big show. So this vehicle is doing it for the first time. We've done the best testing we can do in bits and pieces, but you know, it's as best as we can do. But I think our team is up to it. This team is the best. It's a diverse, intelligent, amazing group of people. People from all over the world who worked on this, not just here in California, but all over NASA, contributors from aerospace, universities, countries around the world. It is just an incredible, remarkable engineering achievement, and I am just so proud of this team.
He's got that dog for the meme. Everything is fine. Did you guys see that?
Right, we're about 14 minutes from
the everything is fine meme. He had a little dog on his desk.
Currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the air shell for about the last 6 months.
That was cool.
This will allow
That was cool.
the spacecraft to more easily cut the line in upcoming cruise stage separation.
You missed it. Oh, it's all good.
Under 4 minutes now.
He had a plush doll of that dog sitting on his desk, and
now enabled the rover pyro bus.
you know, like that. This is fine. You know, where the room's like on fire around him and everything. Like it was that dog.
We're powering off the cruise stage devices.
And these are the things in the cruise stage that we no longer need. With the pyrotechnic system working, we can explode the devices.
The vehicle is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage operation in about 3 minutes 15 seconds.
Oh.
By powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
Yeah, this is
3 minutes. So the separation they said for that. I'm assuming it's the solar panel, that thing on the back.
Pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
This has been the coolant that's kept their vehicle from getting too hot on the way to Mars. We have to vent it into space.
Interesting.
And this is one of the first major events that take place as part of entry, descent, landing.
The HRS vent anchor is complete.
Yes.
We will see the next anchor in approximately...
He's so excited. I'm excited for him.
Okay.
We're currently 12 and a half minutes from entry interface.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over.
So that
and
means
over again.
this has already happened because we're 15 minutes in the past. So that rover is about to hit the atmosphere any minute, like in the next 5 minutes in real time.
The culmination of all that work.
That thing is close.
This vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere. This won't be long.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Prepare for this event.
About a minute and a half
I'm nervous.
from cruise stage separation. About 11 minutes 20 seconds from entry interface.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation till entering the top.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying this whole time, that the computer.
Telemetry will have stopped.
They said that the computer can take pictures of the ground.
That the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive.
But it matches the pictures that it's taking with a map, and that's how it knows where it's at.
From now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
I like how PA works out its pathfinding.
We are under a minute from cruise stage separation.
PA has a 100% success rate in all its landings, unless you're shot down.
I am quite anxious.
But that doesn't count.
But very hopeful that this machine is going to do what we asked it to do.
We're seeing the heartbeat tones.
Okay, that means that there's no more ones and zeros coming. It's just the vehicle telling us it's still alive.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me right now? So at this point, that thing is about to hit the atmosphere any second. In real time.
For cruise stage separation.
15 minutes difference. Oh, jeez.
We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
Okay. Separated, fine.
We're off on
yeah, so
in about 1 minute,
it takes
landing software will wake up and begin
11 to 15 minutes.
For entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry
it takes
thruster.
11 to 15 minutes for light to travel from Mars to Earth. So that's why the signal takes so long. So that everything that we're seeing right now has already happened 15 minutes ago.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own.
So this thing is probably already starting to go through the atmosphere right now. It's just starting to hit it.
And we'll eventually ping the
so
top of the
nervous.
atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
Oh my gosh. No! Oh! I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous.
That, we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating the cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay.
At this point, the spacecraft
so right now they're most of that army that was there had to steer it into Mars. So that's basically what they're doing. At this point now, the rover's taken over and is doing all the work itself. So they steered it all the way to Mars this morning, and then they just kind of let the rover take over. Just so we can watch them all cheer at the end and eat peanuts, Marshall. They have to eat peanuts.
We're about 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, they steered it with 15 minutes difference. So they planned ahead, of course, with the trajectory. So it's like playing Kerbal. You just say, I'm ready to make this turn here, and you just do it, and the signal gets there, and then the rover follows that signal. But they can't do it on the landing part because there's just no way. You need the machine to do it. Yo, I think not, mate. Welcome back.
Via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Carrier lock.
Signal's 13-ish. Yeah, it seems to vary from 11 to 15 minutes from everything I keep reading, but it generally kind of floats around that 15-minute mark. Closer to 15 minutes than the 11 mark. But yeah, it seems to change a little bit.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected.
Yeah, light is different. Yeah. You're right, MT. You're right. It's different. But they all seem to be around that mark of 11 to 15 minutes. So that's why it's always so...
Now we wait.
Oh my gosh, it's going through. So literally it's going through the atmosphere right now. Going through the atmosphere right now.
As soon as we get to the top of the atmosphere, it'll be very quickly, which is the entry point. It won't be very long before the atmosphere will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees. Into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
Just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is
So we got a blackout
when the
period.
signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
They said 5 minutes to hit in the atmosphere from our point of view. That means that that lander has probably already landed on Mars right now. At this point. They said 7 minutes to land. It's probably landed on Mars, or it's just about to, in real time.
Ready to receive signals from the lander.
Okay. MRO is ready and able and waiting for to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight Local 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these 1s and 0s, as Swati said, but to land safely, but we really need it for our own health and well-being today, to keep our nerves under control. But
around this time, a second
my nerves are.
Maven
Good luck, Perseverance. Heck yeah.
Telemetry from Perseverance.
Likewise.
And we'll continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing, as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay. Very soon we'll be getting 1s and 0s, I hope, from our radio on the rover.
He is nervous. I'm nervous too, though. I'm like freaking out a little bit.
The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
There's that nominal word that we were talking about, I think,
so
not mate.
Tones can tell us whether something's bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land.
Okay. Nominal.
It's a good sign.
So nominal is, they says what's normal. Nominal. Or what they expect to see. No, or hope to see. That's what the guy said.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface.
Yeah, nominal is good. We like nominal.
Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry.
So at this point, the rover has already landed on Mars. Maybe. We don't know yet. We have to find out, but at this point, it's already on the ground. Crash landed. It's either happily landed or otherwise. But whatever it is, it's on the ground now in real life. So it's done. We're just basically watching the basic, like the
we are 1 minute
feedback now.
Interface.
Rapid unscheduled disassembly. Oh no. Until like a minute later, right? That's why I'm worried. It's that sky crane's what worries me the most. And the parachute.
We have confirmation that The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is
because
now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about
because you can't test the parachute on Earth because Earth's atmosphere is different than Mars, and you can't test the crane either. So it has to work the first time. Oh, here it is, the Kerbal view. Kerbal view right here.
About seconds from entry interface. 5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of 100.
Oh, look at the list on the left here.
From the surface of Mars.
This is a whole list of things and stages that have to happen. Right here, wait for entry, wait for guidance start, range control, slew. Okay, so there's a whole bunch right here. Probably worth screenshotting. You can.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
They said they had to get down to like 4 kilometers? 4 point something? Kerbal doesn't have weather effects, that's true. They need the weather effects though, in my opinion. Maybe Kerbal 2 will have it.
Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target. Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule.
So they're starting to slow down.
Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
Okay, look, see, it just moved, so wait for guidance starts. So, they're waiting for the atmosphere to get thicker.
The vehicle should be doing its turns right now.
Ah!
It has lost lock.
Perseverance. We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its...
You posted the list? Oh, awesome, MT. Thank you.
...the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
Wow.
MRO has lock again.
10 Earth Gs. Yes. If you were an astronaut, that'd be a pretty rough...
of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak
rough thing to experience after being in zero gravity after a while.
Perseverance is still continuing.
That's the goo on the windscreen levels of G.
in the atmosphere to control
yes.
Its distance
you were
to the landing target.
The bug on the windshield. So if there's any people to Mars, like that might be something that you gotta think about, because you'll be in zero gravity for like 9 months. Then you experience that level of gravity hitting you, like that might be a little bit concerning. I don't know.
At an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered
Commander Kelly, though, the astronaut that was up in space for a year, he did it. It was fine.
To Mars, to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
Wait, what? They say it's heading straight for the target instead of going over it? What?
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
Seems legit. Watching a millions of dollars, $1 million orb falling at many, many mild kilometers towards rough terrain. Seems legit, yeah.
We are starting to straighten up and
no, I think it was, yeah, I don't know how much it was actually, but it was, I'm sure it's expensive.
In preparation for parachute deploy and
probably at tens of millions.
The radar a better look at the ground. The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration in
That's good.
velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters.
That was one of the things I was worried about, was the parachute.
12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
I was worried about the parachute.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5
Yeah, there's
kilometers.
footage on the rover itself, so it's gonna be taking pictures of the ground. So we'll probably get to see the whole the descent later on once they post the pictures. Yeah, so right now that's just the simulation. So that's not, this is what we're seeing is not the actual descent. We're just seeing a simulation that it's sending back to us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, black and white. Black and white.
Now
It's
has
just
radar
the
lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second. 6.6 kilometers of the
Oof.
surface of Mars.
the next part I'm worried about is that
Continuing to
jetpack.
descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers. We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation. We have timing of the landing engines.
Yeah, those tense clenched fists, right?
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6
Whoa,
kilometers
look
from
where
the
we're at
surface of
now
Mars.
on these
We have
steps.
confirmation that the back shell has separated.
Oh no!
We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about
This is the part.
75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
Here in Safety Bravo.
Come on, little guy.
Completed our terrain relative navigation.
Dude, that thing
Speed is
separates
about
really far up.
30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct to Earth tones.
This is the blackout period.
As expected.
Sky crane maneuver has started. About 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO.
20 meters off the surface.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance.
Hey!
On the surface of Mars. Ready to begin
They made it.
descent of past life.
They did it. Yes.
At this point, the descent stage has flown away to
There you go, Marshall. That was why the whole team was there, so everyone can start clapping. That's what they're paid for.
through Mars orbiter to Earth.
Nice, nice. Matt's giving everybody fist bumps. We know Matt from all those commentaries that led up to this program. Just hug it out. Just hug it out.
All right, all stations.
We got it.
Dude, this guy looks so relieved. He looked the most tense out of everybody.
The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
COVID protocols broken all over the place. Yep. Everybody's gonna have to sleep in tomorrow because they're gonna be sick. They need to rest up. Rest up, drink some orange juice.
So much has been
We're watching tomorrow's headlines. Dang it, NASA.
Yeah, we just heard the news.
Especially
that
Matt. I saw you fist bump like
Perseverance
3
is alive
people.
on the surface of Mars.
It's not
Alright, maybe they'll get some pictures sent back. We'll see what we got. Sometimes they send some stuff back.
That is as expected.
Last time I watched one of these rovers land, they sent the picture back.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
They sent the picture back not too long after it landed. So maybe we'll get something. We'll see here in a second. Here are first pictures. They did say there was gonna be like this minute and a half like blackout after it landed.
The news that Perseverance is alive on the surface.
I'm just waiting for my 4K 120 FPS footage. No, I think not, mate. I'm sure it's coming.
More news in. It looks like we're getting the first image.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Here, take a look at the first image.
It's on the ground.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready. We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Nice. Black and white, of course. Oh, look, 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 look. They got some of the pictures on the right. Right here. I'm not sure if those are the recent ones that it took on the way in. But that's dope. If it is.
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
My arms are all shaky. Oh shoot, there it is. So what they did is they landed it in a former lake bed.
On the surface of Mars. Now it comes from the engineering.
So that's why I'm really excited about this.
As the hazard camera. This camera
So
is mainly used
they're
to help
looking.
the rover
This time they're
fly
like
safely
specifically
around
looking
Mars,
for like
and we will
microbial
get
stuff.
Higher resolution photos later in the day.
It's so weird that that is not the Earth that they're looking at. It's like that dirt there is not Earth dirt. There's a freaking other planet. Like that little red dot you see in the night sky, like that's that thing right there that they did just landed something on. Just crazy.
For Steve. Stand by for Steve.
Yeah, they knew it was a lake bed too because of a river entrance and exit. Yep, you're right. Dude, that would be amazing. If they found some crazy plant from another planet, how crazy would that be? If they could find a fossil of a plant like that. Be nuts. It's just freaking crazy. Like, just blow my mind. They bring the samples back and the zombie apocalypse begins. Coincidence? I think not. Mars zombies. The worst thing humanity has to offer. And we can't depend on NASA to follow all zombie, like, virus transmission protocols. As we can see, they love the fist bump, which is how the virus will spread around through via fist bumps.
They're near the ground, so these are pretty close. You can see the wheels.
We just need Matt Damon to grow some potatoes there now. Dude, where's Matt Damon doing right now? What the heck is he doing? Let's get him over there.
Seconds after landing, so there's still dust in the air from our landing event.
Mo
So this
Tatters.
is happening.
Oh man, I feel like I'm ignorant on that one. I don't know. Mo Tatters?
This is really amazing.
Hey, look at those pictures.
We even know where we landed.
Potatoes. Oh!
Because it figured it out.
Mars.
This is a sign. NASA
Mars
works.
taters.
NASA
Got it.
works. And we put
Got
our
it.
arms together,
I'm
and our hands
slow.
together, and our
I'm
brains
slow.
together, we can succeed.
I'm
This is what
slow.
NASA
Oh,
does. This
jeez.
is what we can do as a country. On all of the problems we have, we need to work together to do these kinds of things and make success happen.
Yes. Now they just gotta work on less fist bumps. Just for a little bit longer. We got our vaccines. We just gotta wait till everybody gets it. And then we're done.
Joining us now is the acting administrator.
No fist bumps
NASA,
until you're
Steve
vaccinated.
Jurczyk. Steve, welcome and congratulations.
Hey, thank
What's up,
you.
Steve?
What an amazing day.
How does it feel to have another rover on Mars?
It's amazing to have Perseverance join Curiosity on Mars and
Tundra grasses on Mars. That's a good question.
what an amazing team.
They would definitely need a greenhouse, some kind of building on top of them. I don't know about the soil though. I have no idea if the soil would work. Because you have to think about the soil is gonna be like super irradiated. It's gonna be like just soaking in radiation from all this time from the sun.
For NASA and its future plans?
So I'm not sure if that would kill the seedlings.
So for robotic exploration,
but also,
every time
I'm not a
we,
botanist. I'm not Matt Damon, so I don't know if you can actually grow something on Mars. I have no idea.
That always informs our future robotic missions.
Yeah, so the soil is gonna be super full of radiation.
This mission also has technology on it. One of the cool things is the Ingenuity helicopter.
I'm pretty sure they don't want to grow anything until there's no life history or not. Yeah, that would make sense because you'd contaminate it.
As an science observation platform.
You're right, MT. They would definitely mess some stuff up. You don't want it to spread.
Future rover missions.
Mars would be freaking out over an Earth germ taking it over.
Capability. It'll allow us to land.
Yeah, they didn't touch the rover with bare hands. Yeah.
More ambitious robots on the surface of Mars.
Which makes sense. You don't want to contaminate it because then it's going to look weird.
We have the Mars Ascent and Landing Instrumentation, which is going to give us EDL information. We have the Mars Environmental Dynamics Analyzer. It's going to give us properties, size and properties of dust particles, because when we send people, we're going to have to deal with that dust.
Yep.
And this is just an incredible mission because of the science and the technology, and then caching samples for a Mars sample return mission. That will be an amazing mission.
I'm excited for that.
Trip to Mars and back, and bringing those samples cached by Perseverance back to Earth to examine with state-of-the-art equipment in our laboratories here on Earth.
My only worry is that cache that it leaves behind. Like, is it going to be like? Is it going to get buried by the Mars storms? The dust is going to cover it up, isn't it?
I'm going to Academy for Academic Excellence, and my question is: do you think we could get resources from Mars to help on future missions, or even as like a launching point?
Great question, Landon. Actually, we have an experiment called...
No, but I like that we're sharing ideas, though. Like, just like, what would it be like? How could you actually grow?
And it's going to demonstrate generating oxygen from atmospheric CO2.
There you go.
And that
like the camaraderie, you guys. I like it.
Generate breathable oxygen, and even if we can liquefy it, oxidizer for propulsion systems. So that's a tech demo on Perseverance. And then we're going to continue to characterize the frozen water on and below the surface of Mars, and eventually try to figure out how to extract that water from the Martian soil, or what we call regolith, and then we can use that for potable water and also break it down into oxygen and hydrogen for rocket fuel. So absolutely, we're going to try to eventually figure out how to live off the land to support human missions to Mars.
Yeah, that would be important. You'd have to learn how to keep your food, like, out of the radiation out of your food and water. That would be like my big thing about being on Mars. It's just there's a lot of radiation you have to deal with. Not to mention the environment's trying to kill you, so that's a thing too.
Jessica, your surface operations team has now taken over.
Just kind of had to brag.
What are they doing now?
Yes, hi Raquel.
They were talking about like testing a lot of the oxygen and the ice, and
we'll do a handover with the entry descent
and like
team and,
how to live. They're basically that rover's purpose is to learn how to live off the land. Is what basically to sum it up is all these little tools that it has on there. It's just to learn to live off the land. Plus, it has that helicopter, which I'm super excited about. It has that little helicopter.
Look like for your team.
So as we enter Mars time now, the commanding team will be working overnight while the rover is
keeping the dust out, radiation, and research conversation. I feel like are the main things. Yeah. You have to keep your habitat clean. And
all in time for the regularly scheduled
and I think that's what they're sending. Part of the mission of this rover is to learn how to do that.
We'll be working around the clock, making sure that Perseverance is healthy, and we will begin this exciting adventure.
And can you tell me, what's it like living on Mars time?
It's a little bit like constantly, flying and changing your time zone. The rover, on Earth, the rover wakes up at the same time every day, but on Earth, that's 40 minutes later. So the team is going to be shifting our work schedule by 40 minutes as we come into work over the next few weeks.
Oh, that's annoying.
So it'll be
but worth
exciting. And some late nights, but we're also excited, and we can't wait.
It's a whole new lifestyle.
Yes.
We also have a student question for you. This is Sophia's video.
Yikes, yeah. So as the days go on, 40-minute changes every single day.
My question for NASA is, how's Perseverance gonna survive? And here's a drawing that I made from Perseverance thinking about Earth. Thank you.
Well, Sophia, Perseverance survives with a power source that charges its batteries overnight while it sleeps, and it keeps heaters on so that all of our critical electronics can stay warm, as well as our mechanism.
That was
it's really
an upgrade
by the team,
from what, like the Opportunity Rover, because the Opportunity Rover, its batteries got cold, and that's why it was permanently dead at that one time.
She's doing okay.
But also, it's just it got old as well, so it lasted a really long time.
Thank you.
So it's just things were starting to shut down, and finally it just kind of had it.
Back to Marina as she gives us a sneak peek into the future at JPL.
I think the kid said he was studying some kind of academic excellence program.
Thanks so much, Raquel.
That's sweet. I want to join an academic excellence program. How do I join that?
Minutes ago, and congrats to the whole team. What an amazing accomplishment. Mike Watkins is the director of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
This guy over here is just taking selfies of the workplace. He's like, look what we just did.
Welcome, Mike.
I want to be academically excellent.
You can see all my mask markings.
I could, since I could spell it. Marshall, nice.
Rightly so. Now, you've been around for a number of Mars landings. What
I can't spell it, so I guess I can be academically.
Biggest and best rover
no, just decent. Academically decent.
Really, do amazing things in terms of its own scientific exploration of this habitable environment, at Jezero. But it's also, as you've heard today, it's the first step in Mars sample return. So really, it's
scholastically satisfactory. I'm not savvy like you. I don't have the fancy words.
To develop the rover was specifically designed, for
I grew up on the west coast of America. They're kind of country-like.
Safely means Mars sample return continues right on course.
What a nerd!
And we are moving forward.
Wonderful. Now, JPL has a
no, I'm the nerd. I'm the biggest nerd here.
Why do you think it's
so you guys don't get that title. That's mine.
To push those boundaries?
It's my title.
There's a lot
Stay
of
away from my title.
Obviously, for places that are far away, like Mars, and even farther away, like Europa. Right now, robotic exploration is the only way we can make these scientific discoveries and really understand these early habitable environments. In the case of Europa, maybe it's even still habitable. And we're not ready to go there with astronauts yet. But the robots
no, definitely not ready to go with astronauts.
Always, are forerunners and pathfinders of human exploration.
But we're definitely ready to send Kerbals over. We're sending some Kerbals.
And arms there in the
on the next KSP run, we're sending Kerbals over.
It's just fantastic to be able to do that and to learn from each rover, learn from the science and the engineering, and make the next one better and make more and more discoveries. And every time we do one of these missions, we make fabulous discoveries. And each one is more exciting than the last.
Heck yeah.
The future does look exciting. Now, as director of JPL, what would you like to say to those teams right now celebrating?
Oh, obviously they have earned it. Let me tell you. I mean, they have worked, for years and years on this mission. And then in the past year, of course, we had the COVID experience. And I want to thank not only the team, but
Elon Muskonauts.
A lot of folks had to.
That's right. They get their own name. Neither astronaut nor cosmonaut. Elon Muskonauts.
To support folks working from home. All of the folks looking at PPE and our safe distancing and reconfiguring facilities to make them safe.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of information
by the entire lab, and of course, especially by this
rover sends back. Ooh, Trumpinauts. I'm glad it wasn't.
The 7 minutes of terror are very
it's no secret. I was not a big fan of him.
The mission's just started, right?
I'm not afraid to say that.
Not to land, but actually to drive and get the samples and do other.
There's the dog. Here's the dog right here.
Demonstrations.
The meme.
And so, for much of
this is fine, dog.
This part of the mission's
there
over,
he is.
But for most of the team, the mission's really just starting. And so, I think they're very excited.
That was the dog I was pointing out on the other shot from earlier.
A deep breath and a sigh of relief now that we are safely down.
They had a front view of the dog.
Yes, that collective sigh of relief, and I hear a lot of excitement and celebration behind me as well. So thanks so much for joining me, Mike.
It's my pleasure, and thanks to everyone for joining us, too.
Congrats again to the Mars 2020 Perseverance team for a successful landing.
Yeah.
Back to you, Raquel.
All right.
There will be a flight test coming up for the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. And
Oh yeah.
if
Oh wait.
this
I want to hear about the
technology
helicopter. I want to hear
experiment
about the
is
helicopter
successful,
real quick.
It would mark the first time we have taken a power-controlled flight on another planet.
Sometimes
All right.
you have to do something just to show that you can do it.
Is this?
When the Wright brothers flew for the first time, they flew an experimental aircraft. And in the same way,
I want to know about the
Mars
helicopter.
rocket is designed
Tell
to
me
show
about the
that we can
helicopter.
Fly powered helicopter flight in
Yes.
the Martian atmosphere.
It's like a little drone. That's what I want to learn about.
From day one, this was the
All right,
unwavering
guys.
dream of
I'll let you guys watch this one on your own about the helicopter.
Mars.
We're just gonna turn this
so
one
that
off,
we can get that opportunity.
and then we'll switch over to the just chatting scene here. Alrighty. So there we go. I mean, lots of success by the. You're worried about the helicopter? I mean, they said that the helicopter wasn't meant to last for a long time, so they just want to see if the main test for the helicopter is just to see if it can even fly in the Mars atmosphere, because the atmosphere is like a tenth of what Earth's atmosphere is, so it's going to be really thin. And so what they want to know is if they can even just get it up in the air. What if the roses freeze up, or did I miss their solutions? No, you didn't miss the solutions. I did pause it for a bit. I'm sure I'll put some links in the Discord about the helicopter, so you guys can see and learn about that, because I don't fully know about the helicopter either. I just know that it's on the rovers, so we'll find out if it can fly around, because if it can fly around, that changes everything. You can get these little helicopters and just fly all over the place, and I'm sure they got the brains to do it. They can send a bigger helicopter on how to make that thing stay up in the air in a very thin atmosphere. So very cool stuff that they were doing. Very cool. I don't know what will happen with the rovers being super cold, but I'm sure they got something. They're smart, so they got those engineer minds. They could fly around. You could fully map Mars' surface, move rovers to different locations, and much more. Oh yeah, like, dude, if they can find out if they can actually fly that little drone around, like, that's gonna make a big difference. To know if you can take an aircraft and fly it, because flying is a big advantage, and so if you can fly on Mars, then I mean, like, heck yeah, like you could. It opens up a lot of possibilities. So that's basically what that little helicopter is there for. It's just to see if you can actually fly. It's just to see if you can actually get it up in the air and float around. If you can't, you can't. But we'll find out here in a second. I mean, like, in the next coming days, if it flies and all that. So right now, it sounds like they just want to do some tests, see if the rover's going to actually be alive. Or, I mean, if the rover's healthy, as they said it. I'm sure they want to run whatever tests, and then they'll start doing the science. It's the science. I'm super excited about the science. Especially with that rover being inside of a lake bed. That makes it really, really exciting. And it's even more so that they designed that rover to look for little microbial life, or even fossils or remnants, or it just can have any evidence. That's what's exciting about this one, is that just the fact that where they put it, which is inside the lake bed, and it's designed to look for stuff that's inside of a lake bed. So that in itself is exciting. So there's just lots of stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing here. So anywho, guys, I got some stuff I got to do for the rest of the day, but thank you all for watching, and we'll be back on tomorrow. We're gonna play some games, probably play the Star Wars. I don't know, we might have to cancel Star Wars tomorrow after watching this. I might play Kerbal. So, we'll see. Now it's up in the air between Star Wars and Kerbal. I haven't decided now. Probably, if not one on Friday, then definitely the other on Monday. So, we'll be. If I play Star Wars Friday, we'll be playing Kerbal Monday, or vice versa. So, I feel inspired. I feel inspired to play Kerbal again. So, after watching that. Anywho, guys, I think that is it for me. So I'll catch you tomorrow, 9:30 Mountain Standard Time, and we'll do what we do best, which is just to kind of hang out and just chill. So, anyways, guys, I think that's it. And I keep saying that. I keep saying that's it. All right. I'll post updates of the rover on the Discord. All right. So, anyways, peace. See you guys later, and have a good one. Enjoy your Thursday.